another one. That's right, we got another one. And you know why we got another one? Because I said, screw it. I don't have enough time to actually upload 3 leagues, so we're only doing 1, and this is the one now. So, yeah, that's... I don't know, maybe a little disappointing. I don't know why I ever thought I would be able to keep up with uploading 3 leagues when I could barely keep up with 1 when I was doing that. So we are going to go ahead and stick around with the QDL, since it was the OG league that I actually started uploading for, as well as, I mean, look at all these pretty visuals we got going for us for it, because shout out Aaron for making everybody who's recording for this season all these visuals and stuff, so it seems like a shame to let all this go to waste. So we're just going to go ahead and stick with this for the season. And probably bail on the rest of them because I just don't have time to be doing all that. But yeah, with that, Quarantine actually ended up splitting into 2 leagues this season because there were so many people that wanted to play. So we're in, I think it's the Mount Lanakila, I think is how you say it, side, or the other one's Indigo Plateau. I think the way that they got split up was like pretty much random. So, but Seth, who runs the league, is in the other side of the league. So, you know, maybe we could get you shown the other side over here. And yeah, with that, I mean, the first thing I want to say is, like, this is probably my favorite draft that I've ever ran. So I'm actually kind of excited for this season. So that might have to do something to do with like the smaller league numbers, because I think we have 14 on our side and there's 12 on the other side. So yeah, I think that probably made it easier to get a lot of the mods that I wanted to use. And for the first time, like usually in drafts that allow you to have like a flexible number of mons, like this one you could have 8 to 11 Pokemon. I almost always go like full out and draft 11, but this is like the first time I didn't do that. I only took 9, and as a result of that, like all 9 of them are actually really good. So like, I don't know, this is like my favorite draft that I've ever had, so maybe this will be the new norm for me, see how that goes. But yeah, outside of that, pretty standard stuff. It's Nat Dex. DLC format, so we got all of the like the Isle of Armor moves and all of the leaked National Dex moves, but we do not have any of the Crown of Tundra moves. And when I say that, I mean like Tapu Bulu can't have Grassy Glide and all of that shenanigans. So with that, we'll get into pick number 1 here. I had the I think it was the second to last pick in the draft, so I couldn't really get any of like the really fun stuff up at the top of the list there, but we did end up getting Garchomp to fall to us, which I loved. I have wanted to use Garchomp for a while. I think, I want to say, I think 7 out of 9 of the mons on my team were new to me, Garchomp being one of them, because I've been pretty excited about Garchomp for a while. At 1 out of 2 speed stat, just enough to be able to outspeed all those Pixies and other 100 speed mons is pretty cool. Especially when you're going to be hitting with hard Earthquakes and Dragon Claws. That dual stab is pretty hard to switch into for a lot of stuff, and it does get good coverage moves for the things that can even. And on top of that, it's just really bulky. Like for how big of an offensive threat Garchomp is, getting like Swords Dance and stuff like that, it can just really be good defensively as well. I mean, Dragon and Ground is like a half decent defensive typing as well. So yeah, good Stealth Rocker and all that kind of stuff, and good Wall Breaker, and even potential Sweeper if I want to run like Scarf or something like that. So pretty excited to try out Garchomp for the team here, and I decided that a good pair with Garchomp would be Mega Gardevoir, who has absolutely no switch-ins nowadays. Just another mon that, like, same thing with Garchomp, like, they just don't have switch-ins, and Gardevoir could also provide a lot of support with stuff like Wish. It does get Teleport, so it has pivoting options, can even Wish Teleport stuff around, because it does have a really good special defense stat, actually, so it can actually be pretty bulky. Like, I could use that as a wall, absolutely, although I think most of the time I'm going to be using it as a offensive mon, just because that huge 165 special attack stat and 100 speed is also pretty decent. Hyper Voice plus like Psyshock is just really hard to switch into. Only thing that really likes that is like maybe Steel types, but Gardevoir does get stuff like Mystical Fire to be able to deal with them. Pretty sure it gets Focus Blast too, so yeah. Pretty good options to deal with the Steel types that maybe want to check it and so forth. But yeah, Gardevoir, I'm pretty excited to use Gardevoir because on top of like it has so many support options, like Heal Bell, like it could really be a straight up cleric if it wanted to be, which is crazy for something with so much offensive potential. It could be what it gets, like Will-O-Wisp and like Trick Room, even like just all these like random. I think it gets Healing Wish, like just all these random support moves and stuff that I think I could get pretty creative with, and run a lot of different sets with Gardevoir. So I am excited to try that out. Oh, also I wanted to point out with my my nicknames, I had what was it? How do I get the? Yeah, Cephadrome for Garchomp, and then we had Lunastra for Gardevoir. I'm rocking the Monster Hunter nicknames this season because I've been on a kick with that. But yeah, just I mean, Cephadrome's pretty self-explanatory because it's just a Land Shark, and then Lunastra just because Gardevoir doesn't look like any of the monsters in Monster Hunter, so I just took like a feminine one because Lunastra's like a feminine-looking guy. So yeah, with that, we took Scizor next to round out our Dragon Fairy Steel Core here. Again, can be pretty good defensively, gets Roost as an option and Defog, and can provide some support that way, but I think a lot of the time I'm going to also be running offense with Scizor. That's kind of a theme with my team, is like most of them really want to be running offensive sets most of the time, but they could pretty much, I think everything on my team, even though they're like quote-unquote offensive mons, could be run defensively in the right matchups and stuff, like to be able to check stuff that maybe would otherwise run through my team. But yeah, Scizor I'm pretty excited about using. This is one of the 2 mods on my team that I have used before, but it was in Gen 7 when Hidden Power Fire existed, which that doesn't exist anymore, so Scizor is going to really be appreciating that, and it can actually wall things that like it should be walling before, like the Psychic types and stuff, so that'll be pretty cool. And then on top of that, it got Dual Wing Beat with Isle of Armor, so that is just like a good neutral move, like flying is hard to switch into. You know, that's something that just be able to get like a big neutral hit off on stuff like fire types and stuff that would otherwise pretty much wall Scizor. So it's just, you know, cool little stuff that just like little things that make Scizor a lot better than he used to be, I think. So I'm pretty excited to get to try out Scizor one more time. After that, we picked up Lycanroc because I wanted something that was a little faster than Garchomp. I didn't want Garchomp to be the fastest thing on my team, so I picked up a 110 speed Lycanroc. Another thing that I was pretty excited to try in the new the new DLC here, because it did get a lot of new coverage moves. Like I don't know if I had a close combat before, but it got that, and it got like Play Rough. It got, I think it got Psychic Fangs or something like that was new, but it just got like a bunch of random new ones. And then even on top of that, just being able to run like Stone Edge plus Close Combat is just really good coverage. I mean, but that Tough Claws is pretty much applies to every move that Lycanroc gets other than its stats Stone Edges, which unfortunately, and I mean, it'd be a lot cooler if it got the Tough Claws on Stone Edge, but it's whatever. Cell Rock is like one of the better priority moves in the game, so also having access to that, as I think Lycanroc is an exclusive to that move, so all pretty cool stuff. Gives me a second rocker other than Garchomp too, so it just alleviates a lot of the pressure off of Garchomp, so I can get more creative with that and so forth. So after that, we decided to pick up Serena here, who is just a mon that I've also wanted to use. I love grass types that have removal because they could beat a lot of like the rock and ground types that are going to be getting rocks up. So picking up Serena here with Rapid Spin was a big W in my book. Also, again, like very good offensively, has a very good attack stat, has very good coverage moves and stuff like High Jump Click, Play Rough, U-Turn, Knock Off, gets Triple Axle now. So just a lot of different options to hit a lot of the things that want to check it. Even if it's just for neutral damage, that is okay. We're still getting big damage off because of that 120 attack stat. Can also be really good defensively, gets Synthesis. And, you know, it does get, like, good utility moves and, like, screens and then, like, knockoff U-turn and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Serena's another pretty cool mon that I wanted to try out. So, I decided to kind of roll with the theme here, and I'm going to start picking up my Grass, Fire, and Water core here. So I picked up Blaziken, who is also got a pretty decent buff with the new stuff because it got Close Combat and U-turn, which, like, only 2 like half decent moves, but like I think that really just sends Blaziken way up the list on like things that I like, because it doesn't have to rely on something like High Jump Kick anymore, which is a really risky move, so it has that Close Combat option to deal with things. And then U-turn is just obviously so good, especially on like Scarf and Band sets and stuff like that. So really excited to try Blaziken out, maybe even try some special sets, because it does have, you know, almost as much special attack as it does attack. Even though I think its physical move pool is a little bit better, I definitely think its special sets are viable. And it could even be like surprisingly decent defensively. I mean, it doesn't have the best defensive typing, but it's not like that frail. I'm not gonna say it's bulky, but it's not that frail, and it has access to stuff like defog, and I don't know if it gets roost or not, but you know, so it could be a pretty good defensive utility regardless. But speed boost is banned, as you can see. I'm only allowed to run Blaze, of course, so you know, that's why I got it so late and for so cheap, because with speed boost obviously it'd probably be pretty broken and go first round. But after that we pick up Drapion. This is the one mon on my team that is like always a staple on my teams. Like I always take Drapion. I feel like at the drafts I end up taking Drapion just because I feel so many holes in your teams. Like I always like to have a grounded poison type. I always like to have a bulky dark type to deal with like psychics and ghosts and stuff. You know, it gives you that toxic spike option. It gives you like knockoff support as well, and like it's just a good taunt mon. Dark plus poison is pretty decent offensively together, especially when you pair it with something like an earthquake. So yeah, I mean, Drapion is just such a good mon to have on the squad. I mean, 95 speed stat also pretty good, fills that gap. Like so stuff that are also 95 speed are going to be wanting to run plus speed stats and such. So yeah, pretty cool to run Drapion again. This is a mon that I'm familiar with, even though like I usually try to take new mons and stuff, but this guy just always finds his way on. This is like the one mon that I just always feel like I have, just because it does fill so many holes. But after that, we picked up Blastoise. This spot was actually originally Mantine, but we had a grace period after the draft, so like almost immediately after the draft, I ended up dropping Mantine for Blastoise here, who I think is a way better value pick, just because it does have so much more offensive abilities and like Shell Smash and better coverage moves and stuff. And I thought like the more offensive presence was probably a little bit better on my team, just because of the style of draft that I've been rolling with. Gives me another hazard removal with Rapid Spin. So, you know, I have 2 Rapid Spinners on my team now. If I want to end up stacking hazards on someone, I have a way to get rid of hazards without getting rid of the ones that I put up and stuff. So, yeah, and then, like, on top of all that offensive pressure I was talking about, Blastoise, as you can see, like, its stats are on the defensive side are actually better than its offensive ones. So it could definitely be a pretty good pivot. It gets flip turn now, so, you know, that just adds to how good of a pivot it could potentially be. And being able to run stuff like Scald and Body Press and all that kind of shenanigans gives it some pretty good options for that. And the reason I actually ended up getting, well, on top of all those reasons, I got rid of Mantine for Blastoise. Another one is like a big reason I took Mantine in the first place is because I wanted the Flying type to be able to deal with ground and fighting types, which my team was pretty weak to up to this point. But I found a bit of a late round steal here that helped me out with those 2 things a little better than Mantine did in Zapdos, which I think Zapdos is one of the best mods in the format. It has one of the best defensive typings in the game to go along with pretty good offensive presence in electric and just electric and flying in general is just like one of the best typing combos in the game. I think it's only weak to rock and ice, which like are 2 relatively bad types that not a lot of people even draft. So that's why it's so good defensively, and like with that static and stuff, it could be a really good physical wall run and stuff like Rocky Helmet, heavy duty boots and such. Pretty good defogger, pretty good pivot with Volt Switch and a U-turn I think it gets to. And then the big one is it also gets access to Flying Stab finally, or some good Flying Stab rather, with like Hurricane, and I think it got Air Slash too as a more accurate option. So I think Zapdos is just an absolute beast now with the boots added in and its new coverage moves and all of that. Also gets like Weather Ball now if I run into a weather team or something like that. But yeah, pretty excited to use the squad here. They're just all mons that just... they're just every single mon on my team is so versatile. They do so many different things that I'm just like absolutely in love with it. I can't get like I'm just so excited to try all of them out, try all these different sets out, because I really feel like I could do just about anything with any of them. Like all 9 of those mons, I think I can make work in just about any matchup. Like none of them are really matchup dependent all that much. So you know, it's like I could really just open up the door and get crazy with all these mons, I think. So yeah, looking forward to another solid season here in QDL. And with that, we'll see you in week 1. I think I play Alex the Spaz then, so I'll see you then.